All right, welcome back to Falcon Blues TV. Hope you're all doing okay. And this is our Fulham preview. And I'm delighted to be joined by Elizabeth from the Fulhamish podcast. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for this one at the weekend.
Oh, good stuff. How come? Any particular reason or?
Well, first time up at the Hill Dickinson.
That's okay,
Yeah,
brilliant.
it should be really, really good.
Excellent. Okay, so looking at Fulham's current form, they've lost 4 of the last 5. Obviously, the win at the weekend was 3-0 win over Wolves. But how do you feel the season's gone for you? And obviously, the first 10 games are out the way.
It's a difficult one to say because I think looking at our recent form on paper, it looks really concerning. But the 4 games that we lost in a row before the Wolves game at the weekend were Bournemouth away, Villa away, Newcastle away, and Arsenal at home, which are 4 really, really tough fixtures. You'd think Villa's probably the easier one, but we never win at Villa. We always lose at Bournemouth, and Bournemouth have been amazing at home this season. And obviously, Arsenal are probably going to win the league. So I think looking at it like that, it wasn't massively concerning. And the Wolves game that we've just played on the weekend was huge for Fulham fans. I think that was when we were going to decide, are we in some kind of crisis or is it actually all fine? And we won that 3-0. And we were helped out by a refereeing decision in the first half with a red card. But equally, I think even if that hadn't happened, we would have won that game very, very comprehensively. We were much better than Wolves on the day. And it was really good to just dispatch a team very comfortably at home. So I think feeling positive, and also through in the Cups, we go up to Newcastle for the quarterfinals in December. Obviously a hard game, but I think Fulham fans, definitely me, my main aim this season is I'd love to get to Wembley in one of the Cups.
Yeah, definitely. It's similar to Everton that, a cup just does so much for your club in general, doesn't it? I mean, look at what it's done for Newcastle, look what it's done for the likes of Crystal Palace as well. So, yeah, anything for Everton at the moment. I think us dipping out against Wolves very early on in the Carabao Cup didn't suit us at all. And I think that's Everton's downfall. Since then, we haven't played particularly well. We're 1 win and 8 ourselves. So things have got to change. But looking at the league table, we're a point above you on 12 points after last night's draw. Was sitting in 14th, using 15th. I know you said they're probably not to worry about any kind of crisis at the moment, but I think a result either way for both clubs suddenly becomes a little bit of a minor crisis for us to start worrying about. What's your thoughts over that? I mean, if Everton win, we jump ahead and into maybe like 10th place, but then the same with Fulham. You jump up onto 14 points, but then does that throw Everton into a crisis or does it throw Fulham in? So it's a must win for both teams.
I don't know. I don't feel as concerned. I think because it's an away game and we know that Everton is a hard place to go. And I looked at your home form this season, and obviously that last time out lost to Spurs. That game was on telly. Everyone watched it, but generally being quite consistent at home, and thus the pressure is kind of off for Fulham. We also, after this game, have a much kinder run of fixtures coming up, which is obviously such a huge relief after playing some really difficult games. So while it would be really statement for us to come and get something at Everton, I don't think any Fulham fans are really expecting it or are too worried about the outcome if we don't, as long as we play well and it's tight enough and all of that. But I think at this point of the season, for me at least, performances and showing what we can do on the pitch are so much more important than winning games that we don't deserve to win at all.
Yeah, I think you're more confident than me. I think given last night, I know we played out to a 1-1 draw, but we were like 30 minutes where we were excellent, and then an hour of just so bad. And we threw away what could have been a really convincing win after 30 minutes. We didn't have a shot on goal, so I can imagine Fulham fans will be a bit more confident coming to us. I know what you're saying about the home form and that, but we haven't been as convincing as people think, in my personal view. Brighton and Crystal Palace are the 2 games that we've won at home, and we've kept clean sheets against Villa. We drew against West Ham, but it doesn't seem like anything's really clicked with Everton to, we should be pushing on or we look better than what we're actually making out. I don't think we are personally, but the one thing that Everton have got in particular is Marco Silva. Marco. I didn't mind Marco Silva as a manager. I think he was just dealt a bit of an unfair hand with injuries and poor results poor refereeing decisions and things like that that just didn't go Everton's way during this time. But what do Fulham fans think of Marco Silva?
Marco Silva's a hero for Fulham fans. I think I can't overstate how important and impressive he's been during our time managing the club. Like before he came in, we were yo-yoing between the Championship and the Premier League. And for a lot of teams, that yo-yo ends up the wrong way around. Like look at Norwich, for example, at the moment, or Watford, probably not a hope of going up this season. Whereas we managed to score 100 goals in the Championship in our first season under him and then go up as champions and maintain a level of Premier League consistency. And we haven't been in a relegation battle since we've been in the Premier League, which is crazy to say as a promoted team, to be honest. And I think there are frustrations at Fulham with certain members of the hierarchy, but it's usually the ownership and the way that we're moving in the transfer market and that kind of thing, rather than with the manager. I don't think any Fulham fan has anything negative to say about Silva at all.
No, fair enough. I think when he came to Everton, I think it was right manager, wrong time for us. I think it was just a step too far for the amount of work that he had to do at Everton to fix us. Really, we never really we haven't kicked on since Moyes left. You know, we've had that spell under Roberto Martinez, and then we've gone through manager after manager over the last 12 years, and you know we're back to square one with David Moyes. But I think Marco probably could have done more had he been given more of an opportunity. But you know, these things happen out there in football, and that's all she wrote, and that's why he's doing so well for Fulham, and hopefully that continues for you as well. But let's look at Saturday then. Obviously, Everton are in and around that, you know, that bottom six, and it alongside yourselves. Give us a score prediction or your thoughts for Saturday then, because and who are the key men that we need to be aware of?
I mean, personally, I would take a draw like every day of the week in this fixture. It's an away game. I think a draw on the road is always great in the Premier League in the position that Fulham are in. So I'd be like, in terms of a score prediction, I'd go something like 1-1, but I would obviously love for Fulham to snatch it. In terms of key players to keep an eye on, actually, we're just coming back from quite a heavy injury crisis in which quite a lot of our first teamers were out. And Marco Silva was being really obfuscating about it, not letting us know. And then they all were playing on Saturday against Wolves, which was obviously amazing. Apart from Anthony Robinson, our still injured left back, but everyone else is back. So in terms of players to keep an eye out on, I think I'll give you three. Start with Josh King, who's in the centre of the park. He's 18 years old. I think he has got such a high ceiling. He's a little bit unpolished in terms of reading the game sometimes, but his technical ability is amazing. And I just won't be surprised in 10 years if he's starting for England. Like, I think he is that high ceiling ahead of him. Kevin, who's our club record signing, he plays on the left wing, and he is full of tricks, full of exciting things to get past defenders. Again, he's got a little bit of immaturity in his game, but when he gets going, he just absolutely sparkles and has been a delight to watch this season so far. And then a name you know well, Alex Iwobi has been a difference maker for Fulham quite a lot this season. And he has played on the left wing, but I think probably this weekend, Kevin will start on the left wing and Iwobi might start in the central midfield, which is a role he played on Saturday with ease and dominated. I mean, it was against a terrible Wolves team who got reduced to 10 men, but even so, a very impressive performance from him.
Fair enough. And it's your first trip up to the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Did you go to Goodison Park regularly as well yourself?
No, I never went to Goodison, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. Good
stuff. Well, there's plenty of places around there. I know it's still growing. There's still new bars coming up and popping up every other week, and little things that even Evertonians are getting used to and stuff like that. So don't be surprised if we're all still like, what's going on in this new stadium. That's exactly how we feel, you know. But hopefully, you know, I'm looking forward to a decent game, because I think Everton need to come back from last night's result and prove a point. And you know, if we need to keep that momentum at the Hill Dickinson. I know we've lost that one game against Spurs, but as you say, our home form hasn't been bad. You know, we've only lost that one game. We need to keep that going, and you know, hopefully that continues on Saturday and gives us the kick up the arse to Everton if needed after last night. But
yeah, definitely be a good game.
I'll finish this up then, Elizabeth. But thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you coming on the channel. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to Falcon Blues TV. As always, you know where to find us. Up the fucking toffees. Colin Chong, Elizabeth, thank you very much.
Thank you.